Good evening, everyone, and hope you've had a good start to the week on this summer day. I had a good work day today. Anyway, today's meeting is going to be discussing federal and state allocations to school districts in North Carolina. I'm going to share with you information that came from the state DPI website and can discuss briefly with you the state laws that are taking place right now, or dealing with right now with the budget with General Assembly. It's big issues as it was last week. Not much has changed since last week. So what I want to first do is share with you. I'm going to share a document with you just real briefly that has a web page you can go to. Here. Hey, Nita, I've already begun, so welcome.
Hi.
Hey, I'm sharing with everybody right now. Let me see if we can get it here. This is the web page for DPI. This is the specifically the business office where you have some documents that are very important that you can look at. You can look at your own districts as regards to allocations. This takes you to the main business website for DPI, and I can show you some of the documents that you can pull off of there. So I'm going to just present that to everybody here real quickly, and let me close that out. Okay, come off of that. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you, first of all, I believe I discussed last week that there were three different types of budgets. You've got your feds, federal government budget, you've got your state budget, and you've got your county budget. I'm not going to deal with the county budget tonight. I'll deal with that next week. But tonight we're going to talk specifically about allocations for each district with regards to federal allocations and in regards to state allocations. Now, to begin with, the federal allocations don't come from the feds to the districts. It goes, it's what they call flow-through money. It flows through to the state, and the state then allocates that to the individual school districts. The money's actually been dropped to the state right now, waiting for allocations, or waiting for the budget to be cleared up in Raleigh. Once the budget is cleared up, the Senate budget has been approved or not approved, or whatever's decided in the end, then the federal money will flow right to the districts here. So the first thing I want to bring up to you and show you is a federal planning formula. This is on that web page that I told you about. It's on the left side. Everything I'm showing you today is under the left side of that one page where you have different allocations. You can go check your allocations. You can review what the allotment, the planning allotments, how it's determined, and then you can specifically go in and type in your different district, if you know your LEA number, to determine what your district is getting for planning allotments. So the planning allotments have already been done. These were done pretty late this year. They're generally done in February. This year they were done in April, just because of some of the questions regarding the budget. And so, and at this point in time, for the most part, especially the state portion of it is a pretty good tool for school districts to use. It's not official, obviously, until after the budget is approved with the General Assembly. But we have pretty good ideas right now at the state level, like what parts may change based upon what the General Assembly is discussing. But the first one I've got for you is the federal government. You've got here in your Excel spreadsheet the various captions, IDEA. You've got the Title I. And so these are the formulas that are basically defining what the various things are, the various codes are, and how it's going to be determined for your the formula, how it will be determined for your district. You also have CTE, improving teacher quality, land acquisition state grant. So you've got your ESL, you got your CTE, you got your titles, You've got everything's in here except for child nutrition. Child nutrition dollars will come through a separate area. It actually, child nutrition dollars will come through, the federal dollars will come through to the state DPI through their child nutrition division, and they send out their allocations to the child nutrition directors. So that's the first thing I wanted to show you. Second of all, and Anita, did you see that? Just want to make sure you saw it.
I didn't see anything on the screen.
You did not?
No.
Okay, let me try it again here. Yep, I try that one more time. Okay, I think I know why it didn't do it. All right, did you see the original email for DPI?
I saw the web address.
Yes.
I saw the document that you had up. Now I'm seeing this here.
Now, okay, so let me kind of just review it again. So you got IDEA here, so that's EC. The Title I, those are Title I school dollars. You also have the CTE, that's Career and Technical Education. Now, improving teacher quality, that's actually Title II dollars. It's still, it mostly goes for professional development for all teachers to be highly qualified. So if you have a high number of teachers that are not highly qualified, you'll focus your energy, your funding on providing that HQ status, improving that. Language acquisition, that's your ESL. And then you have like competitive grants down here, your Race to the Top grant, all sorts of competitive grants that are eligible for. Each district would potentially have a different grant that they would be involved with. Okay, so that's the federal government allotments, and now let me show you, see if I can do it right this time. I got to go first check it. All right, I got to highlight it on my screen, then I got to go in here and share it with you. Here we go. All right, so as you see this page, there is a number, and under line item 8, where it asks you to enter your LEA. Well, Union County is 900, so you can go into this document and actually literally put the LEA number for your district, and it will immediately share with you what your allocations are. And these PRC codes that are on the left side, these are the specific position codes, or excuse me, dollar codes, account codes that you, and the amount of money that you get for those particular accounts. So, for example, CTE, Career and Technical Education, is 017, and the amount here is $354,000 for Union County. Now that's not all the CTE money we get, but that's one allocation that we would get for program improvement here. So this is what an allocation sheet. So these are the planning guides. This is actually what we're getting from the feds, but this was our original planning allotments that we got back in April. Okay.
Now, Dr. Clark, the left-hand
Yes.
side of this document is cut off. Like, I can see part of it, but the numbers you were referring to for technical education, that part is cut off. So I'm missing cell A.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. Now what I'll do is I'll just send everybody a copy of this so they can go look at it themselves.
Okay.
So the left-hand side with the numbers is cut off. Is that right?
Right. I think it begins with cell B.
Okay. So see, cell A has the PRC codes. Like for example, Career Technical Education, it's PRC 17, and that's on the left-hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, all right. So I'm going to go out of that. Now let me pull up for you. Okay. The next thing I'm going to show you. Get out of that here a second. All right. The next thing I'm going to show you is the planning formulas for the state dollars. So that pretty much covers the feds. All right, so let me pull that up here. Screen share. Okay, you see cell B, let's see here, let me see. Cell B.
It's cut off.
Okay. What do you see?
I guess that word is category. I just see the T.
Okay, yeah, all right. So this is, I'm sorry you can't see this. I guess this is a Google Hangout issue here. I don't know how to fix it. But basically you have, on the left side, you have various categories, okay? And the way that the PRC codes for state, it starts off with PRC 001. 001 are classroom teachers. And so the left side here has a category just specifically talking about teachers. It has classroom teachers, and it starts at kindergarten, and it goes grades 1, then grades 2 and 3, grades 4 through 6, grades 7 through 8, grade 9, grades 10, 11, 12, and then there's a subcategory of math, science, computer teachers. And then the cell D through cell G is the allotment. So, for example, kindergarten, which is your very first one addressed in category classroom teachers, is 1 to 19 ADM. In other words, for every 19 students that you have that are kindergarten students, you will get one teacher. Okay, and they do this. Obviously their basis for their kindergarten numbers at the state levels not based on real people. It's based on some type of a birth formula that they have in place, demographic information that they figure out. But they're pretty good about determining it. Then first grade is based upon what you had in kindergarten the previous year, and then a formula that deals with your growth, like the difference in your kindergarten to first grade one year, and then the kindergarten to first grade in the next year. So they make adjustments to that. So this particular area, I said early on that your state, these are planning allotments, and the differences in the General Assembly budgets. This is the only area right now, this area, and I guess teacher assistants too, where is the biggest question. Right now, it's listed for grades 2 to 3 to have a 1 to 17 ratio. That came out in last year's budget. Actually, last year's budget was a 1 to 18 ratio, but they said that in the following year that it would be a 1 to 17 ratio. And the reason for this is to address the Read to Achieve. The preparation for Read to Achieve, and of course the year of the Read to Achieve. Mm-hmm. Well, what they've done this year is that both the House and the Senate have raised that back up to 1 to 18. So what they put in place last year did not come to fruition this year. We know for a fact it's not going to go to 1 to 17. If the two houses agree on something before it goes into their conferee committee, where they do all their negotiating, if whatever they agree to before they go to the conferee is going to happen when the budget is approved. So they both agreed that it ought to be a 1 to 18 ratio, so that will change. Everything else is the same for the teachers. Now the teacher assistants, which is 002 PRC code, that might that's sort of up in the air right now as to how to pay for potential teacher raises. The Senate budget has a cut of so many dollars for teacher assistants to help cover an 11% raise. The House has a 6% raise for teachers, and the governor has said he will veto anything above 6% because of the impact it will have on not only teacher assistants but Medicare. So that's where a lot of the debate is happening right now. If the Senate, if they succeed, then there'll be a significant cut in teacher assistants. If the House succeeds, then you will not see that go down at all. So that's 002. 003 is instructional support. This would include your this would include your like media specialists, your nurses, your guidance counselors. 004 would be your school building principals and assistant principals. And going on and so forth. So you used to add a number each time. So 005 is CTE, months of employment. 006 is classroom materials, instructional supplies, etc. So you got on this particular sheet what the formula is for determining this for each district. I've got to move the cat here. Okay, so you can go. What I want you to do is, the federal part of it you can look at, but I want you to look at each of you to look at the formula, and then to go look at your specific counties, and I'll send you an email. I want you to report out to me in an email, basically what you see for your district and what how do you interpret that. So I'll craft the email so you understand my question a little bit clearer than what I just talked about here. So this is the formula that each district gets, and it's visible to everybody in the state if they wish to go look at it on that email address, or excuse me, that web address I sent you. So I'm going to go out of that, and then I'm going to pull up and leave there. All right, and I got one last thing to share with you. Let's see, go open it up. No, I got two more things to share with you, excuse me. All right, so let me share with you. This is Union County. Now, the left side you probably can't see the A, but on the left side in number 6, cell number 6A, has a place for you to go put your LEA code in. I punched in 900 and it shows me my allocation sheet, which you see in front of you. On the far left side under the A has the PRC codes again. And this is what you saw in the previous formula sheet, but this is what the reality is. So for example, classroom teachers, 1869 is what the planning code was back in April. Those would be the number of teachers that we would get based on the planning code. Now, as I said a minute ago, because of the 1 to 17 ratio not coming to fruition, that's going to go to 1 to 18. That number of 1869 is going to drop down a little bit to cover the increase in class size in grades 2 and 3. Now, the biggest question, the question I get every year is, okay, I see that your allocation for 2nd and 3rd grade is 1 to 18. Does that mean that the district is violating the state law by putting 24 kids in my class or 21 kids? No, they're not. What the state does is they've provided us an allocation based on the formula, and then the districts have the flexibility to do as they so wish with everything except a little bit with K2 that they don't have flexibility on. So I can assign 35 students to a classroom in a high school, maybe even 40 and above, and it's okay. But the allocation that I would have received at the district level was less than, maybe it's 25, 26, something like that. It's really up to us. And then what we do is we have our own formula in our district that I put together. It generally is pretty close to the state, but it's not the same in every respect. And I hand those teachers out to those principals, and then the principals, they are responsible for allocating for what are the needs in the building for their schools. Now, with regards to K2, that's a little bit different. The K2, there is a policy, state policy, that says you cannot have a district district class size of 1 to 21. And so I might have 18 in one kindergarten class, and I might have 24 in another kindergarten class in another building, but as long as I don't go over 1 to 21 for a district, I'm in good shape. Secondly, the school buildings, you're not to exceed more than 3 more than the minimum. So the school classroom can go up to 24. Anything above 24, you have to get a waiver from the state. to do that, and there's a possibility that we may have to do that in my district this year, based upon some of the things that we're dealing with. Okay, so that's classroom teachers. Then you can just see our district. Those are, when you get past classroom teachers and instructional support, everything else are dollar amounts.
Dr. Clark.
Yeah.
And I'm just curious, and my school is year-round, so today was actually our first day back for teachers.
Oh no! Welcome back.
So, what happens when the budget is passed, and is it possible that people at my school could possibly lose their jobs, or did the principal allocate I know he used Title II funds and Title I funds to reduce class sizes and things like that for positions. Will that cover it?
Yeah, I actually attended a webinar today with DPI and the budget, and they were talking about what to do moving forward. And Philip Price, who is the CFO for the state, said, yes, the federal dollars haven't come. Let me back up. The state passes a provision where you're able to get some of the dollars even if the budget hasn't passed. They don't hold you.
Okay.
Okay, so you do get some dollars up front, and it's generally I don't even know what the percentage here, but it's enough that we know that if the state's not going to cut you that much. If the state cuts you that much, you can't work. I mean, you can't exist. You can't run a school district at all. And it's usually, you're talking anywhere between, I've dealt with budget shortfalls of $1 million. I've dealt with budget shortfalls of $11 million, which is pretty significant. We dealt with that about 5 or 6 years ago. But when you're going to have that kind of amount of money, we generally know about that long in advance and can prepare for it. Right now, we're not dealing with a lot of what's in the state planning allotments is going to be pretty close to what you're getting. So a school can continue to run. Now, if, for example, they raise I don't know how your district allotted the positions, but if your district allotted the positions based on the teacher formula that was in the planning allotments, and then they cut to 2nd and 3rd grade, well, that could impact your number of teachers. Maybe somebody has to be moved. But it probably wouldn't be more than a teacher or two at the very, very most, because it's not a huge difference right now.
Okay.
Going back on does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, great. The other one, so teachers and instructional support, those are allotted by positions. CTE and school building administration are actually, they're allotted to you by months of employment. So we gained 13 months of employment in my district this year for school building administration. That's not a whole, I could use that to hire 2 assistant principals at X amount of months. I can use that to extend employment to assistant principal by X amount of months, or I can hire 1 person and then have an additional month beyond that to use for other purposes here. So it's a lot of discussion at the central office level as to how to utilize those things. Everything else is distributed by dollar amounts. So PRC code 27 is teacher assistants. For our district, that's $11 million, almost $12 million. Okay, and so you have to really understand how many teacher assistants you currently have. What's their experience level? Because the higher the experience level, the higher they're going to cost you, and that may reduce your amount of teacher assistants. So our CFO in our district, we basically put what's the average teacher assistant, and he can determine from there the number of positions. And let me go back to 001. Okay, so you see we have 1869, but a school building is generally got vacancies throughout the year or in the district. And see, once you have a vacancy, let's say somebody decides to resign in December, it may take a month or 2 to fill that vacancy. So when that person is not being paid, then that's money that's actually building up position. So we have basically a 1% rule in our district that we can say we can actually increase our number of teachers in the building by 1%, because that's how much attrition and vacancies that we'll have throughout the year would allow us to hire more people. So we try to really maximize the positions and the dollar amounts. We got and each CFO tries to do that for each district. On the right side, you have an estimated allotment per ADM that you can look at here. But this goes through your various, your entire, down to 069, and then you have various other allotments, textbooks, drivers training, school technology. So I want everybody to look at this and to look at your school districts, and I'll send you an email out with a question for you to come back to answer me on. The final thing I want to show you is your low wealth supplement. Not all districts get low wealth supplements. It's a lot of your districts do, but some districts don't. I don't think Watauga gets a low wealth. It's really, the low wealth money is based upon what the number of, or the percentage of families that are at a poverty level in your district, and your ability that your district has to pay for the number of kids that they have. It's a complicated formula. We're one of the richest of the poor, so to speak. We're a low wealth, but I don't think we're going to be low wealth much longer. But what we've used that money for in our district, and I don't know what each district does for theirs, because that money is flexible. We can use it for whatever we need. What we use in that district is we supplement Title I low wealth schools, your elementary Title I, your middle school and high school. That would be Title I if you so chose to do that. We also use it for some other needs that we have at all districts, because not every school, even your schools that are not Title I, have poverty. So we use that money to reach out to help the students that are in poverty. So again, we're on the cusp of potentially losing that. We hope we won't. We hope it'll continue. But whoops, that's not going to work. Here we go. So this is the amount of money that each district gets for that. And so, for example, what county you're in?
Alamance, Burlington.
Alamance. You got $3.9 million in low wealth money. So that's, and then Union County, we are 3.68. So we have a higher population in our school than Alamance does, but you have a higher poverty per capita than we do. So that's you are definitely in the low wealth consortium for the school districts. So that pretty much covers tonight's lesson. It's a lot of information, but it's worth taking a look at to have a general understanding of finance in the state of North Carolina, and also to understand your finance for your district here. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer those on Wednesday night. And I'll grade, just to let you know. I've got some discussion boards, a couple discussion boards to grade, but other than that, everything is up to speed. If anybody has not submitted something from the past, please make sure you get that in. We are coming closer to the end of this semester, and I want to make sure everybody gets all their stuff in. So email me if you've got any questions, and thanks a lot. And I will not be here Wednesday night. I said I'll be here Wednesday. I will not be here Wednesday night unless somebody wants to meet with me, and I can certainly open that up for anybody else to answer questions regarding any of the information you've heard tonight, or information that you will find with regards to your artifacts. So with that, I'll say goodnight. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.